Okay, good day, everyone. This is Paul Marwood from Australia, and I have this wonderful friend of mine. We actually met probably now about 2 months ago, and part of the publishing community that I'm now involved in. And we got chatting, and we got on really well. We're really good friends with each other, and so I said to Payman, which is Payman's his name, let's do an interview. And of course, he's already interviewed me twice. So we kind of, one would say, returning the favor. So let me introduce Payman. He's a impact-driven podcaster, an author, and a publisher, and he's currently working on his second book. So as a publisher, he's in working on his second book. This is more of like the goosebump-inducing stories from almost 300 episodes in literally 3 years of his podcast, which is called Leaders with a Heart. His podcast, Leaders with a Heart, really showcases successful, heart-centered entrepreneurs who are building impactful businesses so that they can inspire other entrepreneurs to do good, and in other words, to make the world a better place. He's also the founder of his podcasting academy, which he calls Get Clients Podcasting, where Payman teaches his students how to launch and leverage the tremendous power of podcasting and, more importantly, monetize it from day one. And this includes doing it without spamming, cold calls, emails, etc. And we'll talk more about this shortly. He's also a man about the world. So he's lived in no less than 12 countries on 4 continents. He can speak 6 languages. Very impressive. He's currently running 3 international businesses using his laptop. So he's a living example of the laptop lifestyle. And he's currently based in beautiful Kuala Lumpur, Malaysia. Payman, how are you?
Brother Paul, I'm beyond blessed. Always a pleasure and honor talking to you. I'm grateful that our paths crossed 2 months ago, 3 months ago. We had wonderful conversation first, and I did twice on the podcast and the show, and I'm looking forward for the third time, and I'm honored to be on your show. So thank you for inviting me.
I'm so glad that you're here. Now, let's just let the audience understand a little bit more about you. So in a few words, who is Payman?
Ooh, that's a good question. That's the first question I start on my guest, but when you ask me that, I will confess. It's a tough question to answer. Now I'll put it on the spot. Who's Payman? Payman is a very heart-centered man, a man of faith, more spiritual than religious. I love helping people. I'm the biggest cheerleader you can find, always pushing people, encouraging people, inspiring people to go after their dreams. I love helping, inspiring people, and I love connecting people, bringing people together.
You do.
I love laughing, smiling. Some people tend to know me as a joker. Even in networking events, I usually go to BNI events, Business Network International, around the world. So I went to a couple this week and here in Kuala Lumpur. And people, I don't care where I am. I don't care where we are. I always find a way to bring humor to the conversation, you know? And that, if you knew me from before, is very hard to imagine, because I used to be painfully shy. I used to be extremely introvert. Before that, I was the proverbial wallflower flower. And over a few years, I've made a complete 180. That's another story. So that's in a nutshell. That's me. And I'm absolutely, I said I'm more spiritual than religious. My religion is football, soccer, you know, so traveling is my drug. It's been passed on to me in my DNA. My father was God bless his soul, he was a archaeologist, geologist, has been around the world, and he gave that to me since I was a kid as part of my gene. And one of the most impactful gifts he gave me when I was a kid was a world atlas in French. And that instilled in me the absolute love and lust for travel. Geography was always my favorite subject in school. So that's a little bit in a nutshell. I can say more, but I think that's a good idea.
I would never have guessed you to be a a shy, quiet wallflower. That's just you're living proof that we can change who we are.
Yes, I know. Sometimes I even have to, I can't believe it myself, but I had to. I had to. Two things that helped me do that. One, the first one was a few years ago in 2015. I got a job offer as a football coach, professional football coach in China. And when you're in China, for anyone who's been in China, you're surrounded with people, but yet you're completely isolated unless you speak Chinese. And Chinese is not like any other country. You can at least decipher and know what's going on by the alphabet. Or you can Google them, you can see translate them. But in China, it's all in Chinese. You don't understand anything. You can't read. You're completely isolated. So I had to step out of my comfort zone just to survive. You go to a restaurant. My first night, funny story. First day in China, straight after a 14-hour flight from Toronto to Shanghai, and then another 2 hours by train to my city. Drop the bags in the hotel, take a shower, go to downtown Hangzhou, go to a restaurant. Of course, in downtown Hangzhou, all the restaurants, no English menu. Nobody speaks English. I didn't even have had the time to get a SIM card. So I wanted some chicken. How do you make that? I mean, communicate that. Pak, 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 pak. Exactly. I was with a colleague of mine from Italy. He was a chef. He wanted some crabs and seafood. You know what he did? I don't know how he managed to. No. I don't know how he managed to communicate to the waitress to give him a pen. He started drawing it on a napkin. And for side dishes, he just stood up, walked around the tables, and just started pointing. Seriously, you gotta do what you gotta do to eat and survive, and that you have to get out of your comfort zone. That was number one, and number two, this podcasting allowed me to overcome once and for all my shyness. There's more to it, but these are the two main ways I was able to completely change my go from painfully shy and introvert to outgoing and can't shut me up now.
So tell me, you're a very lighthearted, jovial man. What are the sorts of things that make you smile? Some things, almost anything.
Anything, honestly. I love when I meet people, just whatever they say. Always look for a way to turn it into something funny, whatever, whether it's their name, what they're wearing, but in a good way, not in a bad way, not a derogative way. I don't do that. I respect people. So I love what makes me smile. First and foremost, the beauty, the nature around me, animals, kids. I love dogs. We have a golden retriever at home. I used to not like dogs, but that boy completely stole my heart. I miss him incredibly. My Instagram, even though I use Instagram only for business, is full of cute dog videos. Because once you like one, the algorithm just brings you more. Same on YouTube, you know? Yeah. What else makes me smile? Seeing other happy, making other people smile. This is one thing that I truly love. Making people, as I said, I used to be I'm a connector. When I was living in China and Hong Kong, I used to host events, e-commerce, coffee, Latin dances, salsa, samba, whatever. I did that to make people smile, laugh, have a good time. Because I heard a quote about a year ago, and I will never forget that, from a doctor. I'll forget his name. He said, if every doctor in the world were to make 1 hour or even 30 minutes of mandatory smiling and laughing to every person in this world, within 30 days, 99% of all ailments would be gone. Because when you smile, your body becomes toxic for stress. And what is the number one cause of all the diseases? Stress.
Yeah. You said it.
So do yourself a favor, watch cartoons, comedy, whatever, to make it part of your daily routine. It's okay. It doesn't matter how old you are. Always keep the inner child in you alive, because that inner child in you, that's the whole essence of life. The moment you suppress that, you might as well just call it a day, lay down in your grave and just wait.
It's all over. Yeah.
Exactly.
Yeah. I'm with you on that. You know, really laughter heals everything. In my scenario, I'm staying with my parents at this moment in time, and my mother's favorite thing is she's dances. So dancing is the thing that fixes her whole world. So while I'm cooking dinner, she says to me, "What can I do to help?" And I say, "Well, you do the dancing and I'll do the cooking." You know, so she's dancing in the kitchen. You know, while
take your hand, spin a little bit, makes both of you happy. You know?
Yep, that's it. So tell me another question. What is your best quality? You have so many, but what is your best quality?
Inspiring people and connecting people. I love connecting. This is why I started my podcast. This is why I hosted events. Everything I do is about connecting people, bringing people together, and inspiring. The entire premise of everything I do. When I started my podcast 3 years ago, almost, first of all, it wasn't. I didn't want. I had no desire to turn into a business. I did it because I was bored and I wanted to do something good.
Mm.
And I had no idea how to monetize a podcast, but I did it because I wanted to talk to people, inspire, and learn. But in the process, I wanted to inspire people because, I wanted to showcase entrepreneurs that are doing good. Sure, we're only to make money, but let's do so in a way that's meaningful, impactful, and purposeful. For example, for me to win doesn't mean that you have to lose. I win, you win, he wins, she wins, we all win. Make your business bigger than yourself, which is not just profit driven, but cause driven, purpose driven. Find a cause that speaks to you, that makes you alive, and that resonates with your audience. And whatever you get a new client, whatever, contribute to that cause. Even if it's not financially, go mentor someone, or even next time you see someone on the street or whatever, say hi, how are you? How's your day? Or even the cashier at the store, look at the name tag and say, hey Mary, hey John, how are you? How's your day? That alone they will remember you. It's all about making someone happy, making them feel that, hey, they matter.
Yeah.
This is what I love doing, because my program is all about helping leaders find their voice. I can talk a lot about that, because finding your voice, understanding, realizing, accepting that you matter, your story matters, your voice matters. This is 99% of winning in business and life, that you need to understand and realize and accept, embrace your gift, yourself, that you matter, your story matters, your voice matters. Once you do that, then the rest opens up, because it's all in here. It's what I keep on telling my students, my clients, is as a coach, as a mentor, 99% of your job is to make the other person you're talking to realize that they can do it. If you can make them realize that they can do it, game over. It's done. Once they realize it, not only you will be able to have an impact, a transformation in their lives, in the process, you'll be blessed with a beautiful friend, a wonderful friend, relationship, an amazing impact and transformation, and the icing, the money. The money is icing on the cake. It's not the cake. If you build your life and your business around doing good impact, then I swear to you, Paul, money magically manifests itself. I've seen it in my life. Does that answer your question? I went on a long tangent.
Yeah, that's good. The tangents are perfectly fine. So obviously, you have a lot to do with podcasts. You have your own and working with others as well. So what are some of the benefits of owning your own podcast? You want to share that with the audience?
Beautiful. Thank you for asking. First of all, when you go on someone else's podcast, it's a great thing to do. It's a great place to start, but that gives you a temporary boost. But once you have your own podcast, you have your own platform, then you're building an invaluable asset. The podcast allows you to share your story, because what is business at the bottom, at the base? It's not a numbers game. Sure, numbers matter, but ultimately it's a relationship nurturing process. How do you nurture that process? By connecting. How do you connect? By being authentic, genuine. The number one rule I teach my students, even anyone that wants to join my academy, I tell them, never speak from a script. Don't even speak from here. Speak from here. When you speak from here, that's when the magic happens. That's when people can really open up to you. You will be able to earn the respect, the trust, and that's when the magic happens. And the best way to do so is through podcasting, because when someone listens to your podcast, it's for two reasons. One, sure, they're interested in your topic, but most importantly, they like you. They like your sense of humor, your personality. They can identify with you. They can relate with you. They can resonate with your story, and so on and so forth. For example, you, Paul, do you listen to podcasts?
Yes, I do. Yeah.
What's your favorite podcast, for example, other than mine?
I was about to say, I've been enjoying listening to yours lately, and I've been listening to Mary's, and honestly, it's a combination between podcasts and YouTube as well. It's kind of almost between those two paces. But for me, it's mostly about, and this is where I like podcasts like yourself, where people are educating, but educating with inspiring messages, and that's the piece that's really important.
That's
we
it.
we have a world that has so much negativity in it. So why watch the negativity? We get to have a choice of listening to inspiring leaders with a heart, as an
That's
example.
it.
Yeah.
That's it. I'll get back to it in a moment. But for example, when you listen to your favorite podcast, after a few episodes, you view them as a friend, as if you know them, even though you may have never met them. And after a few weeks, it will become natural for you to reach out to them. Hey, I've been listening to your podcast for a few weeks. I love what you're doing. Let's connect and see how you can help me. The point is, when you have your podcast, it allows you to share your story, display your expertise to your audience, the people that relate with you, so you can connect with them heart to heart and attract them magnetically. Because once you get to know you and build that trust with them, there's no need for you to pitch, to sell, or as I like to say in a funny and cheesy way, there's no need for you to seduce or kidnap someone to do business with them. Hey, what are you doing, Paul? What do you do? Oh, I do X for Y. Oh, that's exactly what I'm looking for. Can you help me? Sure, let's set up a talk. Let's have a time to talk. This way, this is my favorite way to do business because I suck at sales calls or closing, but when I speak, I don't go through scripts. I just share my story from my heart. And the people that resonate, they will connect and say, oh, I can see myself doing that. Yes, let's do it. You mentioned about, selecting to watch YouTube videos or podcasts over the news. That's an amazing tip. I haven't watched news in 5 years, completely cut off. That's one of the most powerful decisions I made and one of powerful advice I received from a very wise man. He said, stop watching the news because it's going to make you upset, pissed off over things you have no control over. And what does it matter to you to hear who's going out with who's doing that, No. Instead, focus on what you control, what matters to you, your business, your health, your lifestyle, your family, your friends, things that empower you. Because in the news, it's all about negativity, murder, rape, crime, whatever, terrorism, pandemic, whatever. It's all about, lowering your vibration, put you in a state of fear, so that you start losing control of faith in yourself, trust in yourself, so you don't do anything and become dependent on the government. Instead, cut them. Another powerful lesson tip I was given is, if something is important, you will hear about it. So you don't need to be glued to the TV for 5 hours. Instead, next time you go on a long drive or you cook, you're going to walk, whatever, walking the dog, or even taking a shower, get one of those, speakers, listen to a podcast, listen to a video that feeds your mind. Just like we need to eat food to feed our body, feed your mind. Not only feed your mind, but so you can understand what is possible from the people that are actually, changing the world, changing business, taking things to the next level. Podcasting and YouTube podcasting has become the new radio, and YouTube has become the new TV. In a way, YouTube and podcasting, I would dare to say, have become the new university on demand. You get to choose what you want to listen, where, as opposed to going to a class or to a curriculum and going through, topics you have absolutely no interest, you're never going to use, whatever. So this is why podcasting, I've gone onto a tangent, but podcasting,
that's good.
What it does, basically, 3 things. Allows you to share your story, display your expertise so that you can connect heart to heart to the exact audience in order to magnetically attract it without cold calling, spamming, and none of the nonsense that all the other 99% of online entrepreneurs are doing, which is all about, dial for dollar or keep spamming, and you do that, your account is gonna get banned on Facebook or whatnot. You will run out of people to talk to. People will start ignoring you because nobody wants to hear about your latest opportunity. Whereas in a podcast, you share your story. You don't need the entire world to listen to you. Only those that resonate with your message, that can identify with you, that can see themselves as in you, they will listen. That's all you need. Even if 0.1% of 9 billion people listen to my podcast, I would be delighted. I would be a trillionaire in no time, So.
And the thing I love about the podcast piece and YouTube as well is you're talking to real people. There isn't really an agenda in that piece, and they get to share theirs. And for me, and I do this the same with friends and everything else, very much more so now, is that my time's precious to me. I'm not going to waste my time with scenarios, people, things that make me feel bad, make me feel less than, make me feel frustrated. Why? I get to choose. So I choose to listen to inspirational material. I choose to listen to things that are going to expand me, who I am, what I want to be, and both on podcasts and YouTube, which is why when you said, what's your favorite? It's like, well, I don't really have a favorite because I kind of flip around the place looking for things that are inspirational for me, and I allow my intuition to guide me to the right information, the right person at the right time to bring that information through. And so, but it's inspirational, just like you and I chatting away, you feel good afterwards. So that's someone who's like vibration. We have a great time. We enjoy each other's company. And also we get in share. I get in my uniqueness to enjoy you in your uniqueness. We can have completely different opinions, all the same opinions. It doesn't matter, but then we get to see it from a different perspective, which is really illuminating, and that's what I love.
Absolutely. Very powerful thing you said is it's about talking with real people and talking heart to heart, not just going to an interrogation, but having a conversation. I'm having a cup of coffee as if you were meeting in person, cup of coffee, glass of wine, a whiskey, or whatever, a cigar, whatever you want to do. Have a conversation, heart to heart, get to know the person, because that's where the magic happens. Podcasting has become the new golf. Before you want to network with people, hey, let's go play a round of golf, or let's meet at the country club. Now, especially the last few years because of the pandemic, why don't you come on my podcast? You can't imagine, Paul, how many big 6, 7, 8, 9, 10-figure businesses or partnerships have started as a result of two people connecting on a podcast.
Yeah. That is the ripple effect on that is huge. And that flows out, because if they're successful, they're helping other people be successful, and they're employing other people, so there's just the whole thing ripples out from there. It's more than really you and I can even imagine. So tell me, you're very successful at connecting people and obviously running your podcast. But if someone wants to set up their own podcast, you have your podcast academy. So tell us some more about that. So those in my audience who'd love to hear about that and how you can help them get their word out and connect to people like you do.
Yes, thank you. My academy is called Get Clients Podcasting. It's a 3-week program. My program is for busy people, busy entrepreneurs. I'm sure we've all been into programs where as soon as you signed up and paid, you get an email. Here's your login. Good luck. Watch your videos. You have 200 videos each 3 hours. Nobody has time for that. So my program is straight to the point, 3 weeks, 30 minutes a day. And I cap it at 7 students per month because, again, I'm not in the business of selling a bunch of courses. I'm in the business of collecting success stories. I want to make sure whoever comes into my program, they're going to be my focus, my priority for the next 3 weeks. I will be here from the moment I wake up until I pass out at night. You can reach out to me on Facebook, on Messenger if you have a more, question. Let's get on a Zoom call. I work with you on a one-on-one. So my program is structured in 3 weeks. Week 1, because let me backtrack. Before starting my academy, once I reach 100 episodes, people started reaching out to me, asking me, hey, can you help me launch my podcast? At first, I was hesitant. I was telling them, hey, go watch this video on YouTube. But then they said, no, I want you to teach me. So what do you want me to teach you? I just did. That's exactly what I want to teach me. And then I asked them, so what is the number one reason you haven't started your podcast? 3 reasons. I don't know how. I'm not a techie. I don't know where to start. So this is my structure of my academy. Week 1 is I don't know how. We brainstorm, we build a foundation. For example, what is your purpose, your objective, your goal with starting a podcast? Then we brainstorm, who is your exact ideal client avatar? The clearer, the better magnetic your message will be. And then every decision of your podcast is a strategic decision that builds from the previous day. So first, what is your purpose? What is your avatar? Where they hang out? What is the ideal branding? What is the ideal length for your podcast? There's some very successful podcasts that are 3 minutes. Like, for example, the Frank Kern, massive internet marketer, online marketer. His podcast is 3 minutes each day. But then on the other side of the spectrum, you have podcasts like Joe Rogan or Patrick Bet-David, 3 to 5 hours each, and everything in between. Mine is an hour. So the length of your podcast, that's a strategic decision based on your purpose, on your goal, on your avatar. So all of these are very strategic decisions. And then What is the format? Should it be audio or video or both? And then how often should you release an episode? Once a day, once a week, once every 2 weeks, once a month, once a quarter, once a semester, whatever, once a year. You have very successful podcasts at every levels. And then all of these, and then once we've done all of that, we map out where does your ideal client hang out. We map out and how to invite them onto your podcast. I use one of the most powerful principles of not only of business but life that I learned over the past few years is, if there's one thing I want your audience to remember from this conversation is this: never put yourself in a position to ask, beg, or chase. Instead, invite. And this is the old premise, the old principle that I use, not only for my podcast, inviting people on my podcast, filling my books for my books, my academy, everything I do, I use this principle. That principle also can be applied in your personal life, with your friends, with your spouse, with your kids, with your colleagues, with your boss, with everyone. Because again, if you never ask, don't beg, don't chase, instead invite. When you invite, you turn the table. You're not the one chasing. They're the one chasing you. That puts you in a position of power. And I'm not saying play some mind Jedi trick on them, try to manipulate them. No. For example, let's say I didn't know you, for example, Paul, and I want to reach out to you, send you a cold message on Facebook. I'm sure you're getting plenty of those each day, just like me. Hey, Paul, my name is Payman. I'd like to see how I can help you with your business. 3 things would happen. No answer, not interested, so I'll leave with someone else, resulting in less than 1% conversion. However, what if I were to say, hey, Paul, my name is Payman. I'm the host of the Leaders Without podcast. I love what you're doing, and I would be honored to have you come share your story on my podcast. See, much more now your answer would be, oh, absolutely. Say when. I'd be honored. See, by just doing that little change, that little tweak, you change the dynamics. This is in a nutshell the single principle that I've built my entire business on: inviting, not chasing. Yeah. Try that in your personal life. You will see it, or your business, anything. Because again, it's all about dealing with people. Whether they are your family, friends, or strangers on the internet, still talking to people. So this is what we do. And day one, I map out with you how to get your exact ideal client and invite them onto your podcast for the first 10, 20, 50, 30, 100, a billion episodes. That's what we do in week 1. Week 2 is all about the tech side. I'm not a techie. I had to learn it. What kind of microphone do I need? What kind of accessories? What kind of software? How do I connect everything? How do I put it together? How do I record, edit, upload, promote, anything tech related? We covered that in week 2. Week 3, once we've built a solid foundation and taken care of the tech side, what do we need to do to ensure that we have a smashing launch and we get listeners and clients from day one? Because what I show you is how to monetize it from day one. Because the traditional way to monetize a YouTube channel podcast is what 99% of podcasters and YouTubers do: build a massive audience and then make your money monetize through downloads, sponsorships, and subscribers. That's good. That works only for people who are already celebrities or world-class experts, and they have 25 pages after their name and massive audiences. That's good for them. But for me and you and normal people who don't have that, it's going to take you 5 to 10 years to build that audience. When I started my podcast, I don't know if I told you my story, but I was beyond broke. I needed to make money yesterday. So I couldn't wait 5, 10 years. Otherwise, I would have had to start to look for a job. So by implementing this exact approach that I'm teaching my program, which is never ask, beg, or chase, instead invite, that completely changed my life, changed the life of my students. So when I first started my academy, within the first weekend, I get 6 paying clients. And then within 10 months, right after that, I get 60 high-ticket clients. Again, no spamming, no cold calling, no DM, no cold email, no ad spend, because I didn't have any money to start with. And I had, for 90% of the life of my podcast, I had less than 200 subscribers on my YouTube channel. 200 subscribers, absolutely nothing. But again, for me, it's not about the numbers. It's about the connection. Now, today, as of Thursday, August 24, 2023, My podcast, my YouTube channel has exactly 1,304 subscribers, which is absolutely nothing.
Yeah.
But that's not how I make my money. If I were to make my money depend on making money through the traditional way of downloads, because YouTube pays you what? $10 per
Nothing.
100,000 views or something like this.
Yeah.
It would take me a massive, a million views per video. That would take me, I don't know, maybe 2 lifetimes to reach. Because I'm not a celebrity. This is, for me, it's not about the numbers. It's about the connection.
Yeah.
And it's what I show. I teach my students. Now I have clients all over the world. And now I'm doing the same thing here for professionals and entrepreneurs and SMEs here in Malaysia in person. It's what I want to develop. I went to BNI events. When, BNI events, you get 60-second. Who are you? What do you do? And we're looking to connect. I tell them, hey, I'm a podcaster, publisher, and I have an academy where I teach professionals how to launch and leverage a podcast and get their clients with no cold calling, no marketing, no ad spend, and all of that, even if you have no existing audience. So, wow. And nobody's doing it, especially professionals, accountants, doctors, insurance people, realtors. Wide open, blue ocean. So again, podcasting, if and when used properly, the way that I have, by the grace of God, stumbled upon it, it's not only a game changer, but also a life transfer. It completely changed my life. I was beyond broke.
There you go.
Let me briefly, if I may, share my story.
Yeah.
Back in 2015, I went to China as a football coach. I did that for 2 years, and then 2.5 years, I tried to build a business around football. I spent 2 years, whining and dining potential investors for my business. It didn't work out, and I ran out of money, literally. 2019, I left China, went to Hong Kong. If it wasn't for the divine intervention of God that connected me to a wonderful man who became like a brother for me, a Canadian, and Hong Kong was a very successful real estate business. He literally allowed me to stay at one of his places for free for a year. If it wasn't for him, I would have been on the streets. I was living on $20 US a week in Hong Kong, one of the most expensive cities in the world.
Sheesh.
My happy splurge moment of the week was going to McDonald's and getting the cheapest item, which was the cheeseburger, which was exactly 30 Hong Kong dollars, which is $6 US. That was my happy moment. I had to stretch my $20. I was getting those instant noodles, tuna, can of sardines, and bread. That was my lunch, dinner, breakfast, everything. And once a week, McDonald's. But you know what? Ironically, despite me having absolutely no money, it was some of my happiest moments of my life. Let me reflect a little bit. So I've had my spiritual awakening over the past few years. Back then, I didn't know it. One thing I understood is the tremendous power of questions and asking the right question. Before, when something bad happened to me, I was asking the wrong question. It is an empowering question, which was, why me? What did I do to deserve this? Why? Why is life so unfair? What is God? Why? But that is not going to help you in any way, shape, or form. Instead, ask a more empowering question, which is, what is this trying to teach me? What is the lesson for me to learn through this experience? So back then, I didn't know it, but now looking back retrospectively, me being in Hong Kong, no money, yet having some of my most happiest moment of my life, that taught me that I don't need money to be happy. And when you realize that, you become extremely dangerous because nobody can control you, threaten you, menace you, or manipulate you. Oh, I'm going to fire you. Not going to renew my contract with you. I'm going to call the cops on you. Okay, here's my phone. You remove all control from them. You become very dangerous. But it gives you an incredible sense of, self-belief, not in a cocky and arrogant way, but in a self-assured way that, hey, nothing can touch me. You feel almost invincible. It was very difficult, but yet I will not change that for anything. The person I am now, the success that I have now, I wouldn't have had it if I hadn't gone through that and literally, go through the gutters.
Yeah.
So again, questions are powerful. And, so when I started, because I had run out of money, when the pandemic started, my credit was destroyed. My credit got canceled. I had to ask my sister to book me a ticket to come back home to Canada. So I will never forget this day, Tuesday, February 25, 2020, right after the pandemic. When I landed at Pearson in Toronto, I had 262 Canadian dollars, which is 200 US dollars to my name as a 39-year-old man. It's not a good place to be.
Yeah.
But I never despaired. But I knew I could get back, but I had no idea how. Another powerful lesson I learned over the past few years is listen to that voice in your head, that gut feeling, whatever you want to call it, because that's your soul talking to you. And your soul has two purposes: keep you safe, alive, and protect you, and two, to guide you towards the next step of your journey. And that voice can happen in the most unexpected moment. Let's say you're taking a shower, cooking, having dinner with family, sleeping, whatever. Listen to that. Summer 2020, still broke. The start of the pandemic, Canada was one of the most strictest countries in terms of restrictions. Having dinner with family, beautiful summer day, an idea comes, start a podcast. What do you mean? It keeps on coming for a few days. So I started my podcast a few weeks after, in October of 2020. A year later, still broke. I had reached just the 100 episode mark. I still had no money. Thank God I didn't have any debt, but I had no idea how to monetize it. I was on calls from 9 a.m. the moment I wake up until literally passing out at night, 10 p.m. Another dinner with family, another voice. Still an academy. What do you mean? I kept on coming, start an academy. And at the same time, me understanding the tremendous power of question, I started to ask a very important question, a question that would completely change the course of my life. To the people I was having those meet and greets on the call all day long. Do you have your own podcast? 99% I would say no. Why? 3 reasons. I'm not a techie. I don't know. I don't have the time, and I don't know how or where. That's where I started to click with my little brain at times, some slow brain at times. Said, hey, wait a second. Would you be interested if I were to show you to how not only launch a podcast, but also build your platform?
Yeah.
So you can share your story, display your expertise in order to connect heart to heart with the exact ideal audience and attract them magnetically, even if you have no audience to start with, not without spamming. Would it be of something of interest to you? 6 people said yes. And one weekend, I made $3,000. Back then, I was charging only $500. It was a long weekend. And last weekend of November 2021, I was staying with family. My sister and my father, they went to another city to visit one of my cousins. I didn't go because I didn't have money. I didn't want to be a burden on them. When they came back, my sister asked me, so how was your weekend? I said, well, wonderful. I just made $3,000. What? Yes, she gave me the biggest hug of my life. And then I realized, wait a second, you're onto something. So from that moment on, and 10 months, and within 10 months, I was able to get 60 high-ticket clients and my academy and my books. That completely changed my life. Now I'm in the best financial shape of my life. My credit is the highest ever. I have those premium black credit cards, all the perks and all that. I'm not saying that to boast, but to tell you, hey, you focus your mind and intention on doing good. We don't need to know how. You know, one of the quotes I heard is, the how is none of your business. Yeah. Just focus on the why. Focus on doing good. My focus when I started, my purpose was connecting people, showcasing people who have powerful, inspiring stories so we can inspire other entrepreneurs to do good. I didn't know how, but by me just bringing these people, sharing their stories on my podcast, I was doing good. I was inspiring people. And this is how the universe blessed me and showed me step by step, unfolded in front of me, the path. But again, listen to that voice in your head. Don't suppress that. Don't censor that. Listen to that. And ask yourself powerful question. No matter what happens to your life, whether it's heartbreak, tragedy, challenges, ask yourself, what is this trying to teach me? What is the lesson for me to learn through this?
Great question. Because
that is where the gold is. Life is a school. We both know it. We come here to not only to learn lessons and grow, become better persons, but that's only 5% of the reason we're here. The 95% is taking those lessons, those wisdom, those gifts, and sharing them with others, with the world. Speaking of gift, that's the topic of my theme of my next book, volume 2. What is your gift? How are you sharing it this around you and around the world in this lifetime? So again, the main purpose, at least from my humble understanding, is We are here to share our gifts with others so we can all collectively rise. By others, I don't mean for you to change the world. Just inspire just one person around you. And that person inspires another.
Yeah.
And so forth. We can create a ripple effect. So as you can see, I'm very, very, very passionate. I tend to go on long tangents. I don't even remember what was your question.
It's
But I hope I
okay.
answered that.
You did. You answered it and more. And I have to say, and this is an interesting piece for me. You mentioned in your discussion so far about the different podcasts, short, long, and you mentioned about Joe Rogan. And as soon as you said that, it reminded something to me that it will stay with me for life, because driving to literally Southern California on one of the treks from Northern California, I ended up listening to a podcast from Joe Rogan, who is interviewing Paul Stamets about mushrooms. And all my life, I just, like probably so many people on the planet, just mushrooms are just something you don't worry about. It's just something that's sort of some fungi that grows on the earth. And I didn't really eat them. And so I had no appreciation for them. And in that long, like it was like a 3.5 hour podcast interview, I learned so much that now for the rest of my life been ever changed because of that one podcast. And now I have mushrooms very regularly throughout the week. I respect them. I've explored other aspects of the mushrooms as well. It's just I have such a respect for them and understanding that they were literally essentially the first life form on the planet, and all of the millions of different variations, thanks to Paul Stamets' education, which I've followed even further with, to understand the different parts about the mushrooms. So that's the power of a podcast and how it can change a person's life. So if people
Absolutely.
want to connect in with you and either ideally want to learn to create their own podcast or be a part of being interviewed by yourself, what's the best way that they can reach out to you?
The best way would be through my to Facebook. I can leave my Facebook profile in the show notes. You can share it. Just look for Payman Lorenzo, and I can put also my Calendly. You can get to an meet and greet call, not a sales call, meet and greet to get to know each other, hear your story, and then I can if I can, I would tell you how you can implement podcasting for your business in order to also leverage podcasting to grow your business, get clients. Because what I've been doing is I'll bring my clients, get at least one client a week through podcasting. Let's say your offer is $3,000, one client a week, that's an extra 6-figure a year without any ad spend, nothing, just by connecting, having heart-to-heart conversation. And these are the best clients you will get because you're not spamming them, you're not chasing them. They're the ones that resonate with your message the best, the deepest. And these are the best clients, the best people to work with. So my podcast also on YouTube, Leaders with a Heart. My website for anyone that wants to learn more about my program. Right now, my website is leaderswithavoice.com. I'm in the process of rebranding into getclientspodcasting.com. But right now, it's still under the current and previous branding, which is leaderswithavoice.com.
Perfect. So tell me, I love that piece. Now, if you just, I guess, finishing up, if you had one or two pieces of life advice that you wanted to share with the audience, what would that be?
Oh, tough. That's quite a few, I would say. The first one is always ask yourself empowering questions. Questions are tremendously powerful. I used to, in my sleepy days, unawakened days, I used to ask and whine, like, why me? What did I do to deserve this? Why? Where is God? Why is life so unfair? Why? And whine like a little baby. That's not going to help you in any way, shape, or form. It's going to create a vicious circle of negativity. Instead, ask yourself, what is this trying to teach me? What is it like? What is the lesson for me to learn through this? Because in school, they teach you first, then we have exams and tests, and life is all the way around. You get tested first, then you learn the lesson. If you don't learn it, you have to do it again, but each time more difficult. So always ask yourself, no matter what you're going through, challenges, heartbreaks, struggles, whatever, tragedies, ask yourself, what is this trying to teach me? Because again, life is a school. What is the lesson for you to learn to this? That's number one. And number two, what I shared earlier, never put yourself in a position to ask, beg, or chase. Instead, invite. That changes the whole dynamic of the interaction, whether it's your business, your family, your friendships, your relationships, your neighbor, the mailman, whatever. As long as you, even your dog, maybe not the dog, but that's different, as long as you're dealing with people.
Yeah, I love it. I love it.
Yeah.
Well, Payman, my audience, obviously, you know me pretty well, and you can see Payman is very much he and I kind of think the same and have that beautiful perspective of life. And I would be doing exactly the same thing to you. And I've said that to many of my clients too, about, ask that open-ended question about what can I learn from this? And then when we learn and we then grow from that piece, then that pattern doesn't keep repeating. So thank you so much for your time today. I appreciate all
You're
of
welcome.
your wisdom.
May I add just one more thing?
Go for it.
One thing that I will always add is your story matters. Your voice matter. You matter, because after each class of my academy, I host a graduation party where we celebrate. But then I ask them a powerful question: what's the number one reason holding you back from launching a podcast? And the number one reason that people are always saying that was also holding me back, and each time I hear it, it kills me. And that was, my story doesn't matter. I don't matter. Who am I to share my story? Who's going to listen to me? I'm a nobody. I'm not a celebrity. I don't have an audience. For me, I was self-conscious. I have a big nose. I don't have the hair. I was shy. Who the hell is going to listen to me? But guess what? It's not that. What matters is the message, the gift. We all go to our fair share of, pain, struggles, hard times, tragedy. Sure, they hurt a lot when you go to them, but that becomes your story. Then your story becomes your gift. Then your gift becomes your duty and responsibility to share it with the world, because we are here to share those gifts. And you, as long as you made it this far in life, that's a success. That's a story. That's a lot of stories. That's a lot of gifts worth sharing. So bottom line is, you matter. Your story matters. Your voice matters. Go out and share it to whatever means makes more sense for you. For me, it's through speaking and through writing. For someone else, maybe through painting, music, sports, whatever. Go share your gifts with the world. Don't hold them back, because you would be doing yourself and the world a disservice.
Yeah. And what you do so well when you share your story, your story is important, but you share it so enthusiastically. It's great to just sit back and listen, So this is really perfect.
Because I don't speak from here. I don't speak from the script. I speak from here.
Yeah.
When you speak from here, people can sense the enthusiasm, the passion, the energy, and that's what's going to attract magnetically people to you. That's what's going to allow you to connect, to earn that trust, that respect, build that comfort with people, not through reciting, memorizing a bunch of lines and closing techniques. People will see through your bullshit. They will say, okay, sorry, I got to go. I have this and this and this, and never to hear from them again. But when you speak from there, that's where the magic happens.
I love it.
Always speak with the heart.
I love
Leave to the heart, lead with the heart. That's my closing.
Good, well closed. All right. Well, on that note, love to you all, and have an absolutely fabulous day. And thanks for listening to Payman and Mike. Bye for now.
Thank you, brother. An honor. Thank you.